Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the show. This is Vimo Live, a podcast that is recorded live on YouTube on Monday to Friday at 10 p.m. And later on, the audio version is also available on the podcast, which you can listen to on Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Kana.com, JioSavan, Pocket Casts, and wherever else you listen to audio shows. If you are listening to this as audio only at a later point of time, then you could perhaps share this episode on your social media or with a friend of yours who you think will enjoy it. Today's episode is not really about anything. It's a Monday, and I decided to do another kind of chill stream today. And if you are in the mood, I can share the link using which people can come talk live. And when they do, uh, we will when more people are around, I'll share the link and we will see. Right now, whoever is in the chat, hello. If you are new and here for the first time, say hi. Logic is here. Hi, Logic. Confused Ape says hello. Batman Begin says hi, Vimo. Batman Begin says Monday Blues. So yeah, that one of the reasons I named, like, there is no topic, but the thumbnail to the episode says Monday se kya darna, and I wanted to kind of make an anti-capitalist statement using the thumbnail, because you do realize that the main reason we are afraid of Mondays, or we feel, a Monday dread, is because it has to do with work, right? Sunday doesn't have any magical properties. Saturday doesn't have any magical properties. We feel bad about Mondays is because after the joy of the weekend, we have to get back to work. And in most cases, we don't like it. In most cases, we don't enjoy our jobs. In most cases, we kind of sort of want to avoid the beginning of the week, right? I remember, even like when I was in jobs, I remember memes where people were celebrating Wednesday, where the meme was that the last weekend is 2 days away, 2 days behind us. The next weekend is 2 days ahead of us. Focus on the future. The whole corporate employee culture has to do with the fact that work is bad and weekends are something to look forward to. When in truth, you don't actually have to. Like, the weekend is a day, that Monday is a day. uh, it's not Monday that is the problem. Like, there is a new meme now. You don't hate Mondays, you hate capitalism. So that is what the thumbnail was about, in case anyone missed it. Purvesh says Monday begins. Emoji black mask. Black mask कौन सा वाला emoji था? Yeah, I don't. The thing that I don't like about uh, like this interface in StreamYard is that the custom emojis that I've uploaded to YouTube won't show up on the screen. Only their names show up, and that's, I think, something should be done about it. I shall be writing a stern letter to StreamYard about this. Diamond is here. Hi. Taranga says, so true, so true. Hello, friend. Hi, Taranga. Nice to meet you after such a long time. I hope things have been okay. Purvesh says, Monday is the day of casual chat on Zoom and an online job. That's the best way to start a week. Casual chat on Zoom and an online job. I mean, you started a new job? Okay, so many people are starting new jobs. Like Meghnad got into a new job, and then you. Batman Megan says, Abhijit Chawda wants to know your location to discuss about quantum gravity with listed in IMDb as director as YouTube videos. I have no idea. Abhijit Chawda is listed in IMDb. Like, does he have film credits? I don't know. Amar says, why are people, parents and people, obsessed with productivity? That's also a capitalist myth. The reason you think being productive is a good thing is because you are being trained to be a worker. Not just a worker, a wage slave, someone who will think of work as a good thing, so that the people whose bank accounts are being, whose bank accounts are getting fuller and fuller because of your hard work, can continue being that way. And you think that you don't deserve anything better, but work is its own reward. So, productivity. A lot of productivity porn on YouTube. Like, there are entire channels devoted to kaise zyada productive bane. It's all part of capitalist mythology. Um, Purvesh says, yes, it's a remote work on a console game. Oh, nice, nice. Console game. Remote work on a console game. Are you pulling my leg? Do you really have a job in a gaming company now? Because that's very cool. Although, don't overwork. Gaming companies are notorious for that. Taranga says things have been terrible only, but I'm looking forward to moving out of this hellhole of a city in October, November. Okay, okay. We'll talk later. We'll talk in detail later. Um, Diamond says it's sin to have leisure in urban society. Yeah, think about why we have something called urban society. Why are urban societies thought of as the place to be and not rural society or mountain society or forest societies? So I posted some time ago that we don't have a population problem. We have a resource allocation problem, and that's true. But somebody pointed out that we do also have a population problem. The moment you go out, you see that there are a lot of people, and what they kind of missed, the point that they kind of missed is that uh, we don't actually have a population problem there. Also, we have a population concentration problem. Cities are extremely crowded, but forests are not, hills are not, beaches are not. There is plenty of actual space on earth. The reason those places are not populated is because people have to live where they work, because long distance work is not possible for some jobs, and even for jobs where it is possible, it's not allowed. So cities tend to become full of people who work there. There was this weird question on Quora some time ago about how if teleportation were real, what would things change? And I wrote an answer that is not original, by the way. I do remember reading about it somewhere else, but I don't remember where from. So if anyone wants to hear this answer and then tell me where I got it from, because I read this in a book a long time ago. I think I was in high school or something. The answer I gave was that if teleportation was real, if we could instantaneously travel to any part of the world, the first problem it will solve would be population. Because then people would not need to live in cities in order to work there. They could live in a small hut in the middle of nowhere and just teleport to wherever they work. People could live wherever they want. People could make houses on islands. People could make houses in the middle of a forest clearing. People could make houses. Again, this is a science fiction scenario. Take it with a pinch of salt. I'm pointing at a more general problem, which is that the population problem is more of a population concentration problem. And maybe if the metaverse takes off and it is not problematic in other ways, it can serve as a solution to this kind of situation where remote work is increasingly an everyday thing, so that people don't have to live where they work. And also maybe I don't know if it'll do anything about Monday phobia, but we'll see. Apurv says, hi Vimo, joining your live after a long time. What difference do you feel doing daily versus weekend live? Dailies, I'll be honest, daily is a bit more draining because people who think that becoming a content creator will get rid of their work life anxieties, they keep thinking that okay, making a YouTube video is fun. If I make YouTube videos full time, it'll be fun full time. But at some point it starts feeling like work, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you are at the end of the day doing what you want, and you are making what you want, and you are working for yourself. So that's a good thing. But daily is a little more hectic compared to weekly, obviously. I had hoped when I was doing a daily live stream that it will do better for the channel, the growth of the channel. And that is true. It has improved the channel's viewership a little bit. The amount of subscribers joining is still where it was. Maybe it's slightly better, but it's hard to say yet because I've only been doing this for a couple of weeks now. But we'll see over time. You can't actually tell anything about any experiment until 30 instances of it have passed. So एक पूरा महीना पूरा होने दो, फिर देखते हैं. Manmat says, excluding animals that will eventually be slaughtered for food, animals in the wild do have to work hard. I feel myself at the apex above them. I don't like to work. Uh, so, animals working is animals making use of nature to survive. We have also done that in the past. We have done farming, we have done agriculture. The agricultural revolution changed the fate of humanity. The work that I am talking about is work for other people in exchange for minimum amount of money. Most people who work are barely managing to survive using their salaries. They barely pay their rent, they barely save enough for the education of their children, they barely make enough to buy food. Most people don't make enough to live a secure life. They live from paycheck to paycheck. पैसे आए, सारे के सारे खर्च हो गए। अगले महीने पैसे आए, सारे के सारे खर्च हो गए। अगले महीने पैसे आए, सारे के सारे खर्च हो गए। सेविंग्स का कॉन्सेप्ट बहुत से लोगों के लिए हो नहीं पाता। मोस्ट पीपल डोंट मेक एनफ मनी टू सेव एनीथिंग। And then there are, there is a banking system, and then there is corporation. People think that these systems are accidentally like this. No, they're not. They are deliberately kept like this to make sure that most people are reliant on the system, because if they are, then the system will remain there. Purvesh says, yes, I'm a 3D character artist. Purvesh, wonderful. By the way, I downloaded Blender. It's the icon is sitting on my desktop right now, and I think I'll try experimenting with it. I did some time ago, but this time I think I'll do a little more. I want to be able to make some art using Blender. I remember it being very soothing. So let's see how that goes. If it takes off, I'll start a new YouTube channel. No, I'm kidding. I won't. I promise I won't. The Batman Begins says, Abhijit Chawda is a new history peddler in the town. Do you know him? He's doing daily podcast, but like you, 2.5 hours. Okay. I don't know. I have heard about him. I think he has made an appearance on India's dumbest podcast. But apart from that, I don't know about him. People keep asking me about him, and every time I say that I'll take a look at his content, but I still haven't. Taranga says, yes, cities help the myth of scarcity. Yeah, cities are good for so many things. But cities are also like, I can imagine an ideal city, which is the best possible confluence of culture, social mobility, and everything. But the myth of scarcity, yeah, cities also encourage it. Hmm. Confused Ape says, in the last stream, you said to Meghnad that sometimes you feel like, why do anything? How do you fight that feeling and work on your things? So here's the thing. I don't, I think everyone feels, क्यों कुछ करूँ leisure बैठा क्यों ना रहूं. But I also am someone who, when I don't do anything, I feel terrible. Like on a day when I have not made a single video, not made a single YouTube short, not made a single reel, not done a single live stream, not written a single essay, not worked on any story, I feel so bad I cannot even tell you. It's horrible. It's positively horrible, that feeling of not having done anything that day. But on some days, I because like I do something, I feel good, and I think, okay, I'll do another one, and then I do another one. Okay, I'll do another one, and I do another one, and then I get excited. I make plans for the entire week. I'll do 3 this tomorrow, 4 the day after, 5 the day after, and I'll have 1 month of content at the end of it. And then I drain. I find I completely drain out. My energy goes, everything goes. So I am not very good at managing this. But what I do know is that I fluctuate between two extremes, which is, one is I'll do everything, and the other is, why do anything? So maybe I was talking about the latter that day. The Batman Begins says, Abhijit Chawda is the regular guest at India's smartest podcast, aka Polar Beer. Itihasir Jolsha says, did you see News Laundry video about Muslim segregation? If you saw, what are your thoughts? No, I haven't seen that video. I've seen the thumbnail, but I haven't seen it. It was about Muslim ghettoization, I believe. The thumbnail, that's what it said. When I watch it, I'll tell. Kavish says, hey, Nadir says, Taranga, won't you miss Delhi? Taranga says, yes, so true. Even being a gig worker, freelance worker is not fun in capitalism. Mondays are still Mondays. Short-term employers are also employers only. Money is still money. Yeah. Although I would be interested in finding out if Taranga thinks abolition of money is a good thing, because I myself have mixed feelings about it. Nadir says lions are very lazy. Oh yeah, absolutely. Somebody, मैं चंपक में बचपन में पढ़ा था, किसी ने पूछा था किस उल्लू के पट्टे को ये आइडिया आया था कि शेर को जंगल का राजा डिक्लेयर करना है. अगर जंगल का कोई राजा डिक्लेयर ही करना है तो हाथी को करना चाहिए. सीरियसली थिंक अबाउट इट. अफ्रीकन लायंस स्लीप, मतलब इतने बड़े लायंस दिन में 20 घंटे सोते हैं और 4 घंटे क्राइम करते हैं, इंक्लूडिंग सेक्सुअल असॉल्ट बाय द वे. Lions sleep for 20 hours, and for the remaining 4 hours, they hunt and reproduce, or try to reproduce, or get beaten up by lionesses or something. There is no regal kind of lion feeling ever anywhere. They just look nice. So people thought, ah, jungle ka raja. Nahi. If you really want to look at an animal which truly deserves jungle ka raja, it is the elephant. In fact, there are many Indian folk tales in which the elephant is the king of the forest. I seem to remember at least a couple off the top of my head mentioned in Champak and Nandan. But elephants, pave way for the formation of new life and forest. If you've seen the Jungle Book movie recently, हाथियों के बारे में एक पैसेज था, हमने उसके ऊपर एक अच्छा सा वीडियो भी बनाने की कोशिश की थी बहुत टाइम पहले, like when I was in Mumbai, but I don't know if that video is still out there. I'll find it and share it in the community tab when I do. But elephants genuinely take care of the entire forest, of trees, of small animals, everything. Lions don't. Lions don't give a flying duck about anything. They sleep and they do crime. That's all. Kshitij says, have you seen the pics of hairless chimpanzees? It's insane how muscular they are. A chimpanzee can kill you. Somana says most tech jobs can be done remotely, but boomer men feel otherwise. As someone who's responsible for my team's productivity, I've seen people engage more when meetings are in person. Hmm. Yeah, I think that may be a generational thing, no? Because I feel like if you ask me, I will say that okay, work from home should be a common thing. But even I enjoy going to a workplace and doing work there because it feels like okay, I'm the physical presence of other human beings, and we are surrounded by work culture and everything. Maybe just a generational thing that I feel and some other people feel. Maybe the coming generation will be free from this bullshit and they'll be happily able to work wherever they are. Confused Ape says it would be cool if you could bring some rational mental health experts on the podcast because there are a lot of psychiatrists with dogmatic worldview, which makes it hard to find trustable help. Thank you, Confused Ape. I will. I'll try to get someone. Sumana says, but 5 days in the office is not needed. Yeah, I agree. Taranga says, hey Nadir, the only place I really miss is Bombay, and that is not where I'm going. So I'm happy to not be where the weather and people wreak havoc on my mental and physical health, physical wealth. Wealth? Actually, physical wealth is nice. Nadir says, Protestant work ethic and Hindu karma philosophy are resonant with capitalism. We should not pay for the slacker. Yeah. I like totally. Once upon a time, I used to think of karma as uh, this elevated philosophical line of thought. I no longer think so. It is It is a very exploitative idea. Aditya Verma, hello. Been a while since I caught a stream. Hi Aditya, thank you for joining, and also thank you for being a member despite not catching a stream. I'll remind everyone there is a join button below. You can support this channel by becoming a member and or sending a super chat in the chat. And there are other ways about which I usually talk in the end of the episode. Apurv says, try Unreal Engine 5. It is game changing. Okay. I'm not sure how much my computer can take, but is Unreal Engine easier to learn than Blender? Because if it is, I'll totally go for it. Blender is hard as rocks. पीयूष says, तो अब झंडा नहीं लगाया तो लोग मारेंगे कोई बचा लो इस पागलपन से कहाँ किस चीज की बात कर रहे हो कहाँ झंडा नहीं लगाया Peaceful Nuke says, don't you think a lot of times productivity is important? Example, studying for a competitive exam. Don't you think that productivity YouTubers might be helpful there? Yeah, sure. I'm not against someone wanting to be productive. I'm against productivity being thought of as a religion and something that everyone needs to do. Maybe some people don't want to be productive. Maybe some people want to be more leisurely. Maybe some people are their best self when they are leisurely. The whole thing of measuring people's value on the basis of how productive they are, that is what I'm against. If someone wants to, like, there was this thing on Instagram yesterday. Somebody said, okay, so what is your legacy going to be? What do you want to leave to the coming generation? This person said, I want them to think of me as someone who enjoyed life. And they said, no, but what did you make? Nothing. I enjoyed life. Yeah, but what will you leave people? I leave the idea that life should be enjoyed. There should be nothing wrong with that. That is the point. Do you see YouTube? Here's an interesting thing. You see YouTube channels devoted to the idea of productivity, but do you see YouTube channels devoted to the idea of enjoying leisure? No, right? That's the problem. A thing is not bad, but all the emphasis being on the thing is what is bad, and that is what I'm talking about. Purvesh says, let me know if you need good tutorials. You can discover your stream in 3D. You can discover your stream in 3D like characters, props, environments. Blender has the biggest online support system. Yeah, that it does. Like if I search for Blender tutorials, it's the easiest thing to find. Unreal Engine, not so much. So that's why I'm choosing Blender. Manmat says, Vimo, Blender is not soothing. Will take time to get the hang of it. Yeah, so that is soothing to be. When I can immerse myself in an activity, struggle with it, that is what soothes me. As I said, it takes all kinds of people to make a world. Purvesh says it has editing and VFX too. Grease pencil for 2D animation also. हाँ. Diamond Amar says मेरे cousin मेरे से पूछ रहा था और बोल रहा था that you are fake. How do you earn money? How profitable is your YouTube work? LOL. He is diehard capitalist and refused a job offer of 30K. I have refused job offers of more than that, sir. But why am I fake if I do a YouTube channel? Is his point that I'm fake because it's a YouTube channel, or is he saying that there are YouTube channels which are non-fake but only I am fake? So help me understand this, and I'll be able to answer this. Nadir says, so when you don't do something for a few days, Vimo, you feel better when you do something that's fine, na? Yeah, it's fine. The trouble is, if I started going around telling people that you should always do things, that is when I'm wrong. Because maybe other people don't want to. Maybe someone doesn't want to do anything at all, right? Diamond Amar says because that salary was not what he desired, 30K per month starting was too low for him. He sees everything from a productivity, profitability perspective. He's brainwashed by capitalism. He has been trained to think of himself as a money making machine. If maybe he is like that, right? But there is a fair chance that he's not like that, and the reason he thinks like this is because बचपन से जैसे रिलीजियस प्रोपेगेंडा होता है ना, बचपन से ये बताया जाता है कि दुनिया को किसी ने बनाया है, यू शुड ओबे, यू शुड वर्शिप एटसेट्रा. कैपिटलिज्म इज द सेम थिंग. कैपिटलिज्म में हमको बताया जाता है कि हमारा पर्पस, instead of worship, our purpose is work. There are even things like work is worship. Remember, there are phrases like work is worship. And then there is एक्चुअल लिटरल वर्शिप ऑफ कैपिटलिस्ट्स. इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट के बारे में भजन गाना, मुकेश अंबानी के कोट शेयर करना, इलॉन मस्क को स्मार्ट बताना, जबकि ये लोग नहीं है. दे आर द प्रोडक्ट्स ऑफ देयर सोशल प्रिविलेज. Sumana says, when responsibility hits you, you will get okay with Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and all other days. Vikrant says, the supporters of Abhijit Chawda and Rational World Science Journey should stop bothering Vimo. Both parties should face off in a live stream on their own channels. I'll be happy to moderate, by the way, if anyone wants me to. Peaceful Nook says, have you played Stardew Valley? It is themed around escaping capitalism and starting a new life as a farmer in a small town, kind of like Harvest Moon. I have the game. I downloaded it. I opened it. I played for about 5 to 10 minutes and then I stopped and I haven't gone back to it. Maybe I will. Maybe I will go back to it sometime. Nadir says, our kings work for 2021. Nobody does. It's all propaganda. ये जो बकवास सुनाई जाती है ना कि हमारे नेता, हमारे इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट, हमारे सीईओ दिन में सिर्फ 4 घंटे सोते हैं. नहीं सोते कोई. सब आराम से ज़िंदगी जीते हैं. ये जो 4 घंटे सोने वाला मिथ है ना, ये इसलिए प्रोपेगेट किया जाता है ताकि जो लोग द यंग पीपल हु लुक अप टू देम, दे थिंक हाँ, दिन में 4 घंटे सो के काम करना चाहिए, तब जाके मैं इनके जैसा बनूंगा. वो लोग किसी और कारण से बने हैं जो वो लोग बने हैं. दिन में 4 घंटे सो के कोई कुछ नहीं बनता, बस बीमार होता है. पर वो लोग तुम्हें ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा काम करने की प्रेरणा देना चाहते हैं. ये झूठ बोल के कि ज़्यादा काम करोगे तो तुम हम जैसे बनोगे. नहीं बनोगे. तुम बस बीमार बनोगे ये सब करके. Agastya says lions are deadbeat bosses. It's lionesses which do all the work. Yeah, fairly. That's fairly typical. Taranga says, of course, we want an end to the value firm. Money is money for the purpose of devaluing labor and commodifying necessities. Kshitij says, I find tiger to be more interesting, especially after listening to Mike Tyson talk about his tiger. Okay. I haven't listened to Mike Tyson talk about his tiger, although I am aware that he has a tiger because I've seen that, what's that movie? Hangover. उसमें वो लोग माइक टायसन का टाइगर चुराने की कोशिश कर रहे थे. Purvesh says that lion thing is applied on the PM too when as per their... I don't know why anyone would want to compare their favorite political leader to lions. Like क्या कहना क्या चाहते हैं कि जब हमारा नेता शेर है, इसका क्या मतलब है? नंगा घूमता है जंगल में और कच्चा मांस खाता है. इंसान से कंपेयर करो, शेर के साथ क्यों कंपेयर करना? Nadir says, हाँ, Jungle Book, elephants create forests, rivers, I forgot. Yeah, elephants are, like, if you want to apply the king metaphor, apply it to elephants. Shere, share, lions are completely useless. They're selfish. And, like, if you want to apply human feeling, if you want to anthropomorphize animals, which you should not do, but if you want to look at animals metaphorically, lions don't compare at all. Elephants are the true kings. They act like kings. सोना says मोदी जी लायन है अब तो। अच्छा हाँ, ठीक है होंगे यार उनके भक्तों उनके भक्तों के हिसाब से। The Batman Begins says Abhijit Chawda, theoretical physicist, technologist, writer, researcher on dark matter, dark energy, black hole, quantum gravity, and physical cosmology, but missed the Nobel Prize in WhatsApp forwards. Most people, like even you'll find a lot of people who are bragging about being a lot of these things, but actually engaging in something else. If you ask their name in the actual industries that you just mentioned, dark matter research, etc., and you look at the number of academic papers they have published in scientific journals, you may be disappointed. I don't know about Abhijit Chawda, maybe he has, but usually they're not as much as their social media profile cracks them up to be. Agastya says, remember the story of Karataka and Damanaka in Panchatantra Vimo? It's funny. I don't remember it, sir. Maybe you can refresh my memory. Nadir says, Taranga, nahi yaar, kuch to value form chahiye. Aditya Verma says, virtual courts won't be fun if virtual work was commonplace. Probably. But then who said court has to be fun? Court has to be just. Um, Taranga says, yes, Nadir, but not money. Okay, so Nadir said value form hona chahiye. Taranga says, yes, Nadir, but not money. Value form does not have to be money. Okay. Prabhakar says, I'm late. What is the topic of that day? Prabhat कोई topic नहीं, हम बस ऐसे ही chat कर रहे हैं. It's a chill stream. It's a Monday chill stream for a change. Peaceful Nook says, if people could have 3-day work weeks, they would be known by their hobbies and not exactly. How many coworkers do you have whose hobbies you actually know about? Like you might know that, yeah, Harish from accounting. But why should Harish be known as the guy from accounting? That's his job. That's what he does for money. Maybe Harish is a painter. Maybe it should be Harish the painter who does accounting for money. That would be an interesting life or an interesting world to live in. Aditya Verma says Unreal is unrealistically difficult. Good. मैं stick कर रहा हूँ. I'm sticking to Blender then. How about Unity? What is Unity like? Taranga says I meant health, not wealth. Okay. Diamond Amar says my relatives are very religious and boast about their religion, bestowing virtues of equality, humanity, compassion, but comment on the skin color of any newborn baby in family like Kala and Goya. So religion has this great new feature where people can be bad and yet call themselves good, and it allows them to. It creates a framework where bad people get to think of themselves as good people, or rather, people who act in bad ways get to pretend that they are acting in good ways. Purvesh says Unreal needs RTX graphics cards, won't work on old graphics card. Okay, take it. Then I'm sticking to Blender, I guess. AVSG says Abhijit Chawda's paper on Google Scholar doesn't seem to be of any significance. If citation is anything to go by, seems like he realized he will have a hard time being a theoretical physicist. Okay. Again, I can't comment. That's just, I haven't seen any of his work. Maybe at some point I'll watch. I think people have been asking me to watch his videos since Instagram live stream days, but I still haven't. So we shall see. Aditya says it won't work on professional. Okay. समझ गया. Isha says once artificial intelligence becomes more efficient, we might have 0-day work weeks. We might also have a lot of unemployment. Something to think about. Vikrant says, Vimo, as I have understood your work, I strongly recommend you should consider upgrading your graphics card to NVIDIA T400 to or T600. Also, right now, they are only cards reasonably priced. Okay. NVIDIA T400 and T600. Kavish says, saw your talk with Arif Hussain. It's such a joy to see the comments of ex-Hindus and ex-Muslims fighting for why their ex-religion is great. Yeah. I don't look at comments normally because they're always pointless. मेरे खुद के चैनल पे अजीब कमेंट आते हैं. आज कोई आया था who like there is a specific kind of troll, right, who doesn't have an argument but has a lot of emojis. So I replied to one message, they replied with another emoji filled message. I said, you have two choices, make an argument or get blocked. What's it going to be? And they didn't come back. They have no argument. बस चिढ़ाने के लिए आते हैं. Sagar says about AI, what is the logic in technocrats saying that AI will save us from mundane jobs? Aren't those jobs providing livelihoods? What happens when they get replaced by AI? Well, not all technocrats are saying that. Elon Musk has famously said that AI is terrible. and there are some who says that AI will save us. I think that the role of technology in solving social problems is overestimated. I have done episodes about this in the past. Maybe you can listen to them. But technology will not save us. At the end of the day, social problems are going to be solved by focus on social issues, social work, equal societies, just societies, laws that are made for everyone's good. AI is going to learn what we have done and AI is going to act in that way. By the way, which is a nice point for me to plug my own story about AI. If you go to instamojo.com/Vimo, the URL is on the screen, instamojo.com/Vimo, you can go find an ebook called Darshan. It's a science fiction story written by me set in the year 2050 where AI stuff is happening. I don't want to spoil it for you, but find that book. Maybe you want to buy it and then you can maybe get an understanding of what my thinking on this is. Hmm. Manmat says, in my midlife, I strongly believe that most Indians are materialist. Oh yeah, absolutely. Money ke liye kuch bhi. The world elsewhere is way better. Spirituality gaya bhad mein. We only claim to be spiritual. We are not spiritual at all. जो सोसाइटी अपने बच्चों को अपने सपने कुर्बान करने के लिए बोलती है सिर्फ एक स्टेबल जॉब के लिए, जो सोसाइटी अपनी बेटियों को ऐसे परिवार में शादी के लिए भेज देती हैं जहाँ पे वो खुश नहीं रहेंगी, जो सोसाइटी ऐसे पचासों काम करती है, वो स्पिरिचुअल हो ही नहीं सकती। हम एक मटीरियलिस्टिक सोसाइटी हैं, बट वी ऑल्सो हैव द एडेड एडवांटेज ऑफ हैविंग अ कल्चर ऑफ बाबागिरी वेयर पीपल टेल अस दैट अदर पीपल आर मटीरियलिस्टिक, यू आर एक्सट्रीमली स्पिरिचुअल। इफ यू डू ऑल दीज थिंग्स यू आर स्टिल स्पिरिचुअल। हमें बस लेबल चाहिए, हमको एक्चुअल चीज में तो इंटरेस्ट है ही नहीं। सो हम लोग एरोगेंट बनेंगे, हम लोग गर्व करेंगे, हम लोग दूसरों को नीचा दिखाएंगे, हम अपने से कम प्रिविलेज लोगों का मजाक उड़ाएंगे और ये सब करने के बावजूद हम अपने आप को स्पिरिचुअल बोलेंगे। Somanab says, honestly, I feel leisure life is only for the privileged. It's hard to make a life or support family or retire when you have no support from your country, or if you don't have don't you have, or if you don't have family wealth. Somanab, that is the whole point of kind of the mixed conversation between Taranga and Nadir also. Leisure life is only for the privileged. I agree, but it should not be. People without privilege should be able to find a leisurely life. Itihasar Jalsa says, do you know why India has no bread tube? अरे India has no bread only. Tube तो दूर की बात है. We have a few channels, but honestly, we don't have a bread tube because the left is looked down upon. Even people who are liberal, like there are many YouTube channels which get called left liberal. None of them are actually left. You go to any prominent liberal YouTuber and you say you are left liberal, they'll say, no, no, मैं दोनों side को criticize करता हूँ. So that is the problem. Sumana says, I sometimes see young adults spending a lot on travel or luxury brands but have zero retirement plans. That is also true. But if we did not live in a capitalist society, people would not have to worry that much about retirement plans. I know I'm being a little utopian and your concerns are valid. Diamond Amar says, in urban areas, families and people will always shame you and judge you for being content and leisure, even if you have crore rupees in your wealth. Even crore-patis are condemned for being content. Yeah. I think part of it may also have to do with the fact that we define work as something very specific. Like I once told a story on this live stream or some other live stream, I don't remember. But there was a friend of mine who was once laughing as he read his school textbook. He found something funny in a school textbook, and his mom came to the conclusion that he was not studying. Because how would someone find a school textbook funny? Right? You're supposed to look morose and sad when you're studying. You're supposed to look serious. So if someone does have work that they enjoy a lot, people still tend to think that they're not actually working because we associate work with suffering. And that again is a capitalist myth. People will do something, they will not enjoy it, but they will be told, hustle karo. Because the work that you do for a corporation or a capitalist enterprise is probably not going to be enjoyable. You are likely to say that this is shit, I don't want to do this. But the capitalist mythology will try to convince you that this is what work is supposed to be. Manmat says, once and for all, tiger lion story. Tigers reign supreme in the jungle, hunt alone. Lions don't even roam in the jungle. They survive in grasslands and hunt in packs. Okay. Tigers do hunt alone sometimes. And tigers definitely don't have packs. Yeah, probably. If you want to compare tigers with lions, I'll definitely go with tigers. But I'd still rather go with elephants. Tigers still just live for themselves. Elephants live in herds and they make life possible for so many other kinds of animals. Uh, Taranga says, someone asked you about mental health related content just now. Vimo. Taranga, it happens every live stream. You were not here last time. I had to read out the thing that we had written on Instagram. I am happy to share with you a podcast where we discussed mental health and capitalism. You could share it, forward it to the person who asked. Taranga, feel free to share the link in the chat itself. I'll open it on the screen and show it to people. Kindle Story says, Vimo Live, why some so-called atheist upper caste always abuse Dr. Ambedkar and Dalit social reformers? Because they are they're atheist in name only. They are AINO, I know. They are basically upper caste Hindus who want to take on the label of atheist because it makes them look cool. Like, Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins kind of cool, but they don't want to let go of their own religious dogmas. They still believe in karma, they still believe in caste, they still believe in Hindu purity, ancient culture, and all that. So there are a lot of atheists in India like that, and I don't consider them atheists. If someone has to call themselves an Hindu atheist, then you might as well call yourself a cycling cook. And I've talked about this before. Other episodes are there. Kindle Story says, why some so-called atheists? Oh, okay, already read that. Kshitij says, who is your favorite stand-up comic? I find Norm Macdonald to be highly underrated. I actually don't have a favorite stand-up comic. I'm not really into stand-up comedy. I mean, I sometimes watch it and I sometimes find some of it funny, but I'm not engaged enough with the field to have a favorite because I have not seen enough and I'm not even excited enough to watch much of it. The Batman Begins says, Gobi ji, share pala hai to 5% GST on curd, roti, dal. Aditya says, I work at the High Court in my city. The only reason I miss streams is because I'm dead tired after 12 hours of work, 6 days a week. Sorry, man. I hope you do catch them in the audio form on Spotify, etc. Agastya says a lion befriends elephant. Lion almost becomes vegetarian. It doesn't sit well with its fox ministers, Karataka and Damanaka. So they sow discord and get the lion to kill the elephant. I seem to remember this story. Yeah, but again, इसमें थोड़ा सा Brahmanism है. Why is the lion becoming vegetarian? Because of its. Why is vegetarianism being shown as a more virtuous thing? It's a lion. It's naturally carnivorous. So yeah, vegetarian supremacism थोड़ा सा है इस कहानी में, just as it is in many of the Panchatantra stories. Rational says, hey Vimo, are your beliefs or absence of beliefs similar to that of Charvak? What are the differences? The differences are that I live in the 21st century and my lack of belief is fueled by centuries of failure on part of religious and spiritual people to prove anything like the existence of God or spirituality or magic or anything supernatural. The Charvaks are whatever we know about the Charvaks, we know through accounts by other people. So these accounts tend to be somewhat uncomplimentary. And in any case, the Charvaks, no matter what their views may have been, were materialists, and I am a materialist. And the Charvaks did not have the advantage of modern scientific understanding of the universe, and I do. So that is the difference. The Batman Begins says, Agastya, I don't remember this story. Aaj hi padunga. Aditya says, personal experience, courts are difficult physically but can get worse virtually. Also, Unity is now a black sheep considering they are merging with a company known to inject malware in computer. Oh, wow. Okay. Unreal Engine it is, I guess. If I go that way. But mostly I'm sticking with Blender. Peaceful Nook says, I've always thought the phrase work is worship means to do your work with devotion. Like if you're a teacher, you teach for the greater good and not just for the money. Isn't that the right thing to do? I suppose. I was pointing at one usage of the phrase, but I suppose this is also another usage. Uh, as for whether we should treat all work as worship, I don't know. Is all work deserving of being called worship? Because it seems to me like if you know how our caste system works, some people are told that they're supposed to do a certain kind of work, and if they rebel against it. They say, okay, why should I be limited to doing this kind of work simply because of the family I was born in? They'll get told, यही तुम्हारा काम है, यही भगवान ने तुम्हारे लिए choose किया है. You should treat it as you should be devoted to this work. No, in that case, work is not worship. In that case, the person who says work is worship should be asked to fuck off. Apurva says, did you see the new JWST photos? They were a nice break from the stupidity of everyday life. Do you think the environment right now, worldwide, is leading to no science happening? Leading to no science happening. Science is happening. Science is happening and investigations are being had. It's just that we happen to be caught in a period of time when much of the attention is being diverted in frivolous and hateful directions. Let's just say that. By the way, let me take a moment to thank Apurv for becoming a new member. Hi, Apurv. Welcome to the community. You have now access to emojis that you can use in the chat. And that's about it. Also, your comments will get slight priority. So, thank you for doing this. Much appreciated. If anyone else wants to become a member, you can do so by clicking the join button below and becoming a paying supporter of this channel. Um, Prabhat says, all I'm listening about capitalism, and I think that capitalism itself shaped people's thinking about life, and I agree with you. They brainwash young youth. The fact they get powerful position by social structure. Yeah, you'll find that a lot of people who are capitalists did not actually become capitalists by working hard. They became capitalists and CEOs, etc., by merit of other social realities. A huge part of it was inherited wealth. Ambani has money because his father had money. Uh, Someone else might be rich because of the connections they had or the community they belong to. Someone else might be rich because they got access to the right opportunities because of where they live. Location also matters a lot. So all these factors need to be taken into consideration, but they're not. And the only thing we hear about is hard work, which is, hard work is important, sure, but it's not the only answer to everything. Sudipta says, every time I see a Ben Shapiro fan doing the annoying bit like I'm trans because you don't need to look like a girl to be a girl, so I'm a girl for the next 2 hours, I'm like, yes, queen. What? I'm afraid I have not kept up with Ben Shapiro for a long time now, so I don't know what antics he's up to. Sheikh says, what will you prefer, capitalism or communism? I think capitalism can afford to change, and I think communism, as it has been practiced in the past, probably also was not right. But in the right hands, communism can prove to be a better system than capitalism. Manmat says, Are Abhijit Chawda is not what this thread makes him out to be. Forget him, not worth it. Okay. Um, Prabhat says, I see people are talking scary about artificial intelligence because of movies, but artificial intelligence will improve human life. We don't know that. Technology by itself is not a solution to human life's problems. I have done plenty of episodes about this, and you can go back in the podcast and listen to those. Maybe I'll make a playlist in Spotify and share it here. Sumana says, my husband works in AI. It is far, far, far away from taking all the jobs. The kind of bugs we put in software is scary. Don't worry, guys. Okay. So, there we have some kind of a respite from fears about a dystopian AI fueled future. Sudipta says, I know the vocabulary of pretending to be trans doesn't work, but we all know what they do it for. Yeah. They want to imply that trans women are not women, that trans men are not men, and that they're all pretending, quote unquote. Kavish says technology has been a tool that changed jobs a lot. Earlier, bank teller used to be a prestigious job, now replaced by ATM. AI will not be perfect for a long time and should be used as a stepping stone. Aditya says, look into fully automated luxury communism. It basically says robots will do all the work and humans will rest. A deeper look will tell you it's a late stage capitalism dressed like a leftist. It's actually also something that can be described as white futurism. When we imagine the future, when we imagine what the future is going to be like, we often do it through the lenses that have been given to us by science fiction. And often the science fiction that we use the lens from has been written by white men. So the future, as it looks to a white man who has never faced social inequality in his life, is different from the future as it looks to someone from a perspective of a person of color in America, or someone from a Dalit, Bahujan, Adivasi background in India. So there are different ways of looking at the future. Not every future is powered by AI and robots are working for us. Some futures have really beautiful social justice backgrounds also. So that is also something worth keeping in mind. Agastya says Babagiri, love that term. Yeah, it's totally Babagiri. Babagiri एक धंधा है. Prabhat says we are materialistic and spirituality with complexity of inferiority and superiority. What? We are materialistic and spirituality with complexity of inferiority and I don't know what that means. Sentence निकल गया हाथ से. Hi Dhiru bhai, welcome to the live stream. Ayush says I have many of the so-called educated NRI relatives who are just pissed off of casteism, and at the same time they just bash the Muslims, and they just what? And they just अरे तुम्हारा comment गायब हो गया आधे से. Amar says, my relatives gives me a death stare if I refuse to take prasad, like their brains can't even process someone being non-religious and refusing to take part in rituals and not accepting prasad. Okay. I guess take prasad then. It's food. Peaceful Nuke says, if AI takes over work, we can just provide people with welfare schemes and give them the freedom to be as creative as they want or do whatever they feel like doing. Yeah, so on in theory that sounds great, but the reason we are not giving people welfare schemes right now is not because we don't have enough resources or that a lot of work needs to happen. The reason we are not doing it is because of the greed of a few people. And those people will remain greedy. Such people, if they remain in society, the systems that enable such people, if those remains active, then those people will also remain. And even when there are robots, there will be people who don't have enough because these people want everything for themselves and their families. Capitalism is a problem not because we don't have enough resources and therefore a lot of people have to work. It is a problem because we have enough resources and those resources don't reach a lot of people because a few people are holding on to it. If we don't do anything about greed and the system that encourages and rewards greed, then no amount of artificial intelligence and technological advancement is going to bring us the utopia we all want. The Batman Begins says, Are Vimo, what is your view on crowdfunding on 75 lakhs or different platform by pitching emotional video for 1 year in Harvard? Do we really raise fund for need or desire? Who is doing this? Like, what is this about? I myself have supported people who have wanted to go to Harvard and have tried to crowdfund their monetary sources. But of course, that it goes without saying that you need to look at their financial condition and social background. If there are people who can afford to make it with their own money or their family money, then they should not be crowdfunding. That goes without saying. Crowdfunding for education is a great idea for people who can't afford it. Those who can afford it, it makes no sense for them to crowdfund it. Is someone doing that? धीरू भाई asked, what is the topic for tonight? धीरू भाई कोई topic नहीं है, हम बस ऐसे ही random chat कर रहे हैं. I have realized something interesting. When I have a topic, like people like to have a topic, but when I have a topic, people still don't stick to the topic and we end up talking about everything in any case. So I'm going to experiment for some days with no topic, and we'll see if the end result is better, a better podcast. For example, आज कोई topic नहीं था, but it ended up becoming about capitalism. Apurv says, also absolutely loved Pulp Fiction. Please continue the series. Please look up the book All Tomorrows. Was left scared and speechless by the story. I have All Tomorrows on my system. And thank you for liking Pulp Fiction. Agastya says, nah, Vemo, I don't think the left is any more stigmatized than, say, in US. It's just that there aren't many on the left of the spectrum here who outright reject free market, among other things. Yeah. यहाँ तो ऐसे ऐसे लेफ्टिस्ट हैं जिनके साथ ट्विटर पे मेरे झगड़े हो चुके हैं जो कहते हैं नहीं नहीं हिंदू धर्म को कुछ मत बोलो. तुम काय के लेफ्टिस्ट हो भाई? Agastya says, I would say you could be considered a bread tuber given how often you talk about social equality and other issues. Yes, some people have said that. In fact, there is a Reddit subreddit called RotiTube. You should look it up. उसमें ज़्यादा कुछ है नहीं, but somebody has made one. So I suppose. Prabhat says people criticize liberalism a lot nowadays, but they never read a single book about philosophy or John Stuart Mill. You don't need to read books, but never mind. Ityasya Jalsa says AI would be good under stateless, moneyless society. I don't know. I cannot imagine a stateless, moneyless society yet. I guess I could when I was a child, and I wrote a story about it that I read in that extremely boring live stream where I was reading you guys stories, where there was this AI called Ultimate. The story was terrible, but I knew very little about nation states and social systems back then, so I could imagine it. Right now, I can't. Like the overwhelming force of the social reality that we all live in, where the nation state is such a powerful entity, it prevents me from imagining a future where only an AI controls everything. Memories of the movie says read in robot voice. Kids are machines made to study. But why? Like, why are kids made to study? Peaceful Nook says artificial intelligences won't just be our overlords or replacements, they are our children in a way and will be the next form of intelligence. Again, read the short story I talked about. Go to instamojo.com/Vimo and download the story called Darshan. It costs 150 rupees. It's a 6,000, 7,000 word long short story. It's about AI and the future, and it's set in India in the year 2050. Um, Taranga says, Eep, sorry, work has come up. Have to leave. It's okay, Taranga. Bye bye. Uh, Purvesh says, yeah, me too. I was lucky to work very less on that project. Got kicked out because I have rejected to do the extra time. Okay. Which project, by the way? Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, मैं थोड़ा आगे आ गया था comment में. Uh, Ayush says, I have so-called educated NRI relatives who just hate casteism and according to them against discrimination at the same time, they just wear their Muslim hatred and discrimination proudly. Yeah. They want the label, but they don't want the real thing. Purvesh says, my last company was forcing people to finish the project with unrealistic deadline from 6 to 8 months. They've got eyes and back problem because of this. No medical insurance from company too. Yeah, gaming companies are notoriously infamous for exploitative workplace practices. So you should be careful. You should not do things that, like, if there is possibility of unionizing wherever possible, please do. I believe gaming companies have started to unionize. Look into it and try to start something in your own place if you want. Isha says, since there is discussion on elephants, death toll of elephants has significantly risen, especially in Odisha. The government does not take necessary steps to hold forest officers accountable. Yeah, I've read about this. But I am also aware that Odisha is one of the few states where elephant corridors are quite common. But yeah, the forest officers should be held accountable for this. AVS says, Vimo, have you ever seen the Zeitgeist film series or heard about Zeitgeist movement where they propose a resource-based economy? No, sir, I have not. Maybe I will. Send me a link on Instagram. Purvesh says, yeah, me too. I was lucky to work very less on that project. Got kicked out because I rejected to do the extra time. Um, Sumana says, I literally have people in my family say things like, am I SCST when my daughter doesn't go to them? I was so shocked when I heard it. I did call them out, but still they thought is pukey. These are NRIs, yeah. NRIs, I believe, have the luxury of being so removed from social realities of India and so steeped in the culture that they took with them, if they are upper caste Hindu NRIs, that they are very unlikely to understand this. But then again, there are also NRIs who are very active in the anti-caste space. And I think this increasing wave of anti-caste awareness that is happening right now, thanks to the work of NRI, Dalit, Bahujan, Adivasi community people, this is a healthy trend, and it will eventually, hopefully, get to these people also. Isha says lion is metaphor for Hinduism and elephant is metaphor for Buddhism and Jatakas is what I have heard from people. I did not know this. Diamond Amar says even the whole fast food thing is a byproduct of hustle culture of capitalism, so that even the pleasure of cooking food mindfully is taken away and food consumption is reduced to just a task. That's a good point. I had not thought about this. Kavish says, I often like wolves. They have strong sense of community and support other smaller scavengers. After elephants, wolves should get the vote. Yeah. The reason I don't mention wolves is because as far as literary motifs go, elephant is more Indian, right? Rain, forest, and elephants. Wolves are more associated with Europe and the winter, etc. So that's why probably wolf did not hit me. Dhirubhai has sent Asura emoji. Apurv has sent Asura emoji. BG says, Hi Vimo, given capitalism is not sustainable, what other alternatives you think could be explored in a country like India? Of course, hypothetically, what are your thoughts on democratic socialism? I am a socialist, BG. I believe that at the very least, healthcare and education should be free for everyone. I say this in almost every single episode. But I believe that it is the government's job to make sure that having money is not the criteria on the basis of which people live and die. So socialism seems to be the way out of it. Apart from that, there are some other philosophies, other economic principles, and I want to get an expert on the podcast to talk about it. And I am looking for someone. When I do, we will have a good conversation about it. I unfortunately don't think I'm qualified enough to talk about it with that much authority. Augustus says, here's the thing. A lot of socialist thinkers criticized Marxism, Leninism for perverting the Marxist thoughts to suit domestic needs instead of the internationalist government. Yeah. In fact, if Taranga had been here, she would have agreed with you. Taranga just left like a minute ago. Augustus says, USSR also suppressed a lot of other flavors of socialism which don't agree with its authority. Yeah, that too. Anil Kapoor says, Anil Kapoor says, is it wise to continue friendship with a bhakt? Sometimes I feel it is dangerous to trust a bhakt. If you will get into a problem, they will support the government instead of helping you. I don't think you can make a universal statement about anyone like that. Maybe the bhakt will choose you over their ideology, right? I don't think it is possible to say that every single person who supports a single political ideology has has a similar nature to everyone else. So you have to make a decision on the basis of the kind of person your friend is. If you think at some point of time, if they are faced with a choice, they might choose their ideology over you, then break it off. If you think that they love you enough, then maybe stick to it and see where it goes. Zia Ali says, Hey Vimo, is that a TMNT poster in the background? If yes, and you are a fan, there is a recent release on Steam for an excellent TMNT game that keeps the old retro style. You should definitely try it. A, I have seen that game and I want to try it. B, this is not TMNT. This is an Indian comic book superhero series called Fighter Toads. There are four of them: cutter, shooter, master, and computer. Cutter has a sword, shooter has bow and arrow, master has a pole, long pole. He pole vaults and hits people with it. Computer is the nerd of the group and he has a computer. He doesn't fight, he just strategizes. Although the leader of the team is master, the one with the pole. And yes, it is somewhat inspired. By the way, other things, right next to Fighter Toads, you see a green man, that's Nagraj. Above him, you see the guy with the sword, that's Bhokal. Next to him, you see the guy on the motorcycle, that's Super Commando Dhruv. Above Dhruv, there is someone called Inspector Steel, who's a lot like Robocop. And next to Dhruv on this other side is Tiranga, who dresses in the colors of the Indian flag, who's like a Captain America kind of. But there are many differences. Appearance pe mat jao. There are many differences in the characters. Piyush says, my cousin earning more than 5 lakhs a month found 2000 rupees cab for 20-25 kilometers. So good luck if you think hustle can save you. Work, of course, hustle will leave you dead. Probably. Anyway, we are at the 59-minute mark, guys. अभी और comment नहीं type करो. मैं बस जो comments हैं उन्हीं को पढ़ लेता हूँ एक बार. Sumana says, I always take prasad but refuse to everything else. It's hard to say no to food. Temples have really good food and I used to get my dinner from temples in college. Yeah. It's food, man. You can take prasad. See, the joy of being an atheist is that nothing happens if you take part in the religions. You're taking part in the religious ritual does not make it real. If you find it impossible to escape something, You can eat the food. It's food. Food is real. Food nourishes you. Food is tasty. You can eat it. If you have ideological difference with the people who are organizing the puja, then don't do it. But if you have no such huge problem, and if it's just a matter of food, you can take it. It's food. Nothing magical happens. It's just food prepared by human beings. They think it has magical properties. It doesn't. But it's at least food, right? You can take it. Sudeep says, Diamond Amar, I make it a point to not take part in religious things, have done so since childhood. Start doing it, they will understand eventually. That is also another method. If you create the expectation that expect to, uh, they should not expect that you will eat their sacred food, then maybe they'll not ask you. Dear XYZ says, Hey Vimo, why not you are collaborating frequently with rational channel like Human with Science, Realized, Azad, Samyak Soch, Amit Tiwari, Haris Sultan, Ghalib, it will increase your reach. Dear XYZ, मैंने हारिस सुल्तान के साथ एक एपिसोड किया हुआ है, गालिब के साथ एक एपिसोड किया हुआ है, रियलिस्ट आज़ाद के साथ नहीं किया है, अमित तिवारी के साथ नहीं किया है, ह्यूमन साइंस के चैनल पे मैं एक बार 2 बार जा चुका हूँ शायद, एंड या सो अमित तिवारी और रियलिस्ट आज़ाद के साथ नहीं किया है. आई विल चेक आउट देयर वर्क एंड आई विल इवेंचुअली गेट बैक टू यू. हमने बाय द वे अर्पित जी के साथ भी किया है, आस्था मुक्ति वाले, उनका एक इंटरव्यू है इस पॉडकास्ट पे, और मैं उनके साथ जल्दी ही फिर से बात करना चाहता हूँ. सो मे बी ही कैन कम बैक. प्रभात says टॉपिक आई वांट टू टीच अबाउट संस्कृताइजेशन, वेस्टर्नाइजेशन, अर्बनाइजेशन. बहुत सारे जेशन है यहाँ. AVS says it's hard to imagine AI helping social equality. It's only as good as the data it is trained on and the models that crunch them. Data and models are both flawed in the real world. It may exacerbate problems. Yeah. Social problems are going to be solved by social activity, not by machines. No machine is going to inherit an understanding of social problems. And by the way, if a machine inherits an understanding of social problems from an upper caste Hindu, we are fucking doomed because they have no idea what the issue is. Imagine AI looking at Indian Twitter in order to find out what India wants. Imagine what conclusions it will reach. Again, I'll pitch my story one more time. instamojo.com/vemo पे जाओ, दर्शन डाउनलोड करके पढ़ो. It costs 150 rupees. I wrote it. It took a long time. That's why it's a paid story. But I think जो भी मुझे AI के बारे में कहना है ना, उस स्टोरी में बहुत अच्छे से समझाया गया. Piyush says, we already live in authority of AI. They are the handful of people having billions and control. That's not what AI means, but okay. Right. So, इसी के साथ बहुत सारे कमेंट हैं, मैं अभी इन सब पढ़ नहीं सकता. But I think 1 घंटा 3 मिनट हो गया है. Before I end, I would like to remind everyone that if you want to support this channel, you can do so by clicking the join button below and becoming a member of this channel. And if you want to make a one-time donation, there is also a thanks button below which you can click and leave a comment and along with it a donation. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so. My handle on Patreon is also Vimo. You can go to patreon.com/Vimo and become a member there. You can make a monthly or an annual, pledge. If you don't want to get trapped in a monthly or an annual pledge, what you can do is that you can go to my blog, which is at vimo.stack.me, vimoh.stck.me, and there is a support button there. You can click on it and you can donate something of your choice. In addition, if you want to listen to the audio episodes of this podcast, you can do so at www.vimo.in, which is the website for the podcast. There are also, all the episodes are there to listen to. You can also find links to all the audio apps on which the podcast is available, like Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, etc. And that is it. I have a Hindi channel where I should post short explainer videos. It's at youtube.com/Vimo Explains. VIMOHEXPLAINS. No spaces. So that is about it. And with that, we reached the end of today's episode. Let me just look at the last couple of comments. Anil Kapoor says, do you think a person who supports bigots and calls for genocide would be a good friend? No. If that is the kind of friend you have, then fuck him. Leave them right now. Prabhat says, this country will be doomed in future because of bugs and their children in future will get tears of blood and smart people will migrate to West. It's already starting to happen. We had a lot of millionaires leave the country recently. Except for Godi Media news channels, nobody thinks that the country is becoming a better place to live in. And as long as we don't hold our politicians and people in power accountable, things are not going to change. That's it, I guess, guys. And thank you. Tomorrow I will see you at 10 p.m. on this channel. And when I do, we will talk about similar stuff as we talked about today. Until then, hold on. Comment kiska रहेगा screen पे? Right. Until then, I wish you a good night and have a nice day ahead. I will see you tomorrow at 10 p.m. Good night.